the temperature hit a sweltering 95 degrees. The crowd of Hollywood elite just froze, sweltering under vintage white umbrellas. And just like that, a new pop culture obsession was born. Welcome to Starscope Report.
Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And that is exactly what we are doing today. We are taking a deep dive into a story that has basically hijacked my entire newsfeed this week.
Oh, same here. It is everywhere.
Right. The headline is everywhere. Emma Roberts marries Cody John in private wedding ceremony. But as we know, the word private is doing some serious heavy lifting in that sentence.
A lot of heavy lifting, like Olympic-level heavy lifting.
Exactly. So our mission today is to look past the glossy magazine covers. We want to unpack how a supposedly intimate celebrity milestone is actually this crazy collision of carefully crafted aesthetics, some really messy family realities, and just ruthless public perception.
Because it always looks perfect on the outside, right? But the reality is always so much more complicated.
So complicated. And we have a massive stack of sources for this. We're pulling from Vogue, fashion breakdowns, entertainment timelines, TMZ reports, and of course, some incredible toxic Reddit threads.
Oh, the Reddit threads are always where the real chaos is.
Oh, absolutely. But let's start with the aesthetic curation of this event, because it was basically a theatrical production.
Totally.
So Emma and Cody held this 45-minute ceremony at his family's estate in Sun Valley, Idaho. And the fashion alone, it requires an entire psychological breakdown.
I mean, I am ready for it.
So she wore a custom off-white gown by the Filipino-American designer Monique Lhuillier. And this was not just something you pull off the rack or from a bridal catalog.
No, definitely not.
Lhuillier's team spent 9 months and close to 1,000 hours creating this garment.
Wait, really? 1,000 hours? That is, I mean, that's over 40 days of nonstop work for one dress.
Yeah. Yes. It is a staggering amount of resources. They even custom developed the specific shade of the fabric, which they named Vintage Rose, which is a direct nod to Emma's middle name.
Wow. Talk about branding yourself, you know?
Right. And here is where it gets interesting. She told Vogue that her her actual mood board for this entire look was an antique ghost doll aesthetic.
An antique ghost doll for a July wedding in Idaho.
Yeah. Think about that choice for a second. It is a highly specific, slightly eerie vibe for a summer wedding.
It really is. It moves away from that traditional bridal joy and leans into something almost, I don't know, almost haunting.
Exactly. Haunting is the perfect word. And the physical construction of the gown was this marvel of engineering. It was built on a structural corset foundation and then layered so it could literally transform into 5 distinct looks throughout the evening.
Okay, wait. 5 looks.
5 looks.
See, I am struggling to buy the narrative here. If your dress requires 1,000 hours of labor, a proprietary fabric dye named after you, and transforms 5 times like some Broadway costume change, how is this an intimate, private backyard wedding?
It's not. It feels like a high-budget editorial shoot that's just masquerading as a backyard ceremony.
Yeah, you are hitting on the exact paradox of modern celebrity existence, I feel like. Why go to these extreme lengths for an event you claim is entirely for yourself?
Right. Like, who is it really for?
Exactly. Because in the digital era, even when a celebrity is off-duty, they are fundamentally on duty. The private label is just a protective shield, but the curation is an offensive strategy.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
It is all about total, uncompromising control of the narrative. By choosing a 1,000-hour couture piece that turns her into an antique ghost doll, she dictates the visual vocabulary of the event before anyone else can.
She is essentially writing her own history book before the paparazzi can snap a blurry photo.
100%. She ensures that the single high-resolution photo she eventually releases communicates this very specific identity of effortless, vintage edge.
And she totally carried this rebellion into the after-party, too. She abandoned traditional bridal white completely and changed into an archival black two-piece from Lhuillier's 2004 collection.
A black corset top for her wedding night. That is a choice.
Yeah, a structured black corset and a layered silk organza skirt. She actually jokes that Cody wouldn't care if she wore jeans, but he would die for this.
Subverting those bridal expectations by wearing a black corset. It's a way of asserting her individuality against this massive machinery of a traditional celebrity wedding.
Right, because if she controls the aesthetic perfectly, she controls how the public remembers the day. But, and this is a big but, the irony is that she built this impenetrable 1,000-hour armor for the ceremony, and the night before, that armor completely
Not
cracked.
just shattered.
It really did, and that's not even the wildest part, because wait until you hear what happened at the rehearsal dinner. If you're loving these Hollywood twists so far, make sure you're subscribed, because we have got even crazier stories ahead.
Seriously, hit subscribe. You do not want to miss this next part.
So we need to talk about the rehearsal dinner. Because no matter how tightly you control the narrative inside the venue, the second you step onto a public sidewalk, the internet takes that control right back.
The internet always wins. It's terrifying.
It is. So Emma and Cody went out with their bridal party to a casino bar in Ketchum, Idaho.
Which is like a very un-Hollywood setting, right?
Very. They spent the evening bouncing around to a second dive bar before heading back to the Sun Valley Lodge around midnight. And someone outside caught Emma on camera.
The paparazzi's literally everywhere.
Everywhere. And in the photos, she is wearing a sheer white chiffon dress, white stilettos, and she is casually lighting up a cigarette on the sidewalk outside this dive bar.
The contrast there is just jarring.
It is such a departure from the antique ghost doll Vogue aesthetic. The sheer chiffon, the stilettos, the harsh lighting of a dive bar, the cigarette. It's gritty.
And the internet, of course, wasted zero time sharpening its knives.
Oh, they were ruthless. We pulled up the Learny Socialites Reddit thread, and the commentary is vicious. It is not just casual snark, it is an aggressive teardown.
What were they saying?
Users were calling the look trailer park chic.
Oh my God.
I know. They relentlessly mocked her makeup, hyper-focusing on her blonde hair, paired with dark black eyebrows and bright red lipstick. One user outright said she looked like Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald. That is so mean. People are so unnecessarily cruel.
And the vitriol went way beyond just critiquing her styling choices. They aggressively shamed her for smoking on her wedding weekend.
As if she had violated some sacred bridal purity law or something.
Exactly. And then the thread inevitably spiraled into rehashing her past. They brought up old rumors of domestic altercations, threw around phrases like cokey rages, and completely dismissed her entire career by labeling her just another entitled Nepo baby.
It is the dark side of parasocial dynamics, honestly. The internet loves nothing more than to puncture the protective bubble of the Hollywood elite.
But why is the reflex so universally cruel? It's like someone spending a year meticulously painting a masterpiece, hanging it in a gallery, and the audience just lines up to throw tomatoes at it. Why do people revel in tearing down these curated moments the second they find a flaw?
Well, think about it.
Right.
When the public is constantly fed images of immense wealth, privilege, and flawless 1,000-hour curation, a subconscious resentment builds up. They feel alienated by the perfection.
That makes sense. It feels unattainable.
Right. So when they see a gritty, relatable, almost chaotic image, like a stressed bride smoking outside a casino bar, they don't view it with empathy. They view it as an opening.
Wow. So the cigarette is basically the crack in the 1,000-hour armor.
Exactly. It provides the ammunition they need to equalize the power dynamic. And for someone with a polarizing public persona like Emma Roberts, who carries the heavy weight of a very famous last name and, a history of public drama, that unpolished image validates the internet's preconceived negative opinions.
It's a stark reminder of the sheer impossibility of maintaining a flawless facade in today's culture.
The public demands perfection from celebrities, but the moment they achieve it, they get punished for being inauthentic.
You are trapped in a no-win scenario. If you release the pristine Vogue photos, you're out of touch and overly curated. If you let your guard down outside a bar, you're labeled trailer park chic.
The psychological toll of navigating that must be immense.
It really must be. But as fascinating as the internet backlash is, the most glaring tension of this entire wedding weekend wasn't happening in a Reddit thread. It was happening right there in the guest list.
Ooh, the guest list.
Yeah. Later in the episode, we will talk about the shocking twist regarding her dating rules. But first, let's look at who's actually sitting under those white umbrellas.
The physical space of a wedding always tells a story. And sometimes the loudest part of that story is an empty chair.
Absolutely. Because it was a literal who's who of Hollywood royalty. Her aunt, Julia Roberts, was front and center with her husband, Danny Moder.
Iconic.
You had Emma's American Horror Story co-stars Sarah Paulson and Billy Lord, Ashley Benson, Demi Moore, Kristen Stewart, major A-list names, braving the 95-degree heat.
Just sweating it out in couture.
Right. But the glaring absence, the missing piece that changes the entire context of the day, was her father.
Actor Eric Roberts.
Yes. He was nowhere to be seen.
Wow. So where was he?
The contrast is striking. While this highly publicized family milestone was taking place in Idaho, paparazzi caught Eric Roberts emerging from a gym in Los Angeles the very next day.
A gym in L.A., while his daughter's getting married in Idaho.
Yeah. Page 6 actually reached out to him for a comment on his absence.
Oh, of course they did. What did he say?
His response was brief but loaded. He said, "I love my daughter. Always have, always will. It is perfectly wonderful for her to celebrate however she wants, with whomever she wants."
Okay, that is a meticulously crafted statement.
Very PR friendly.
It is polite, it's supportive on the surface, but it speaks volumes about the chasm between them.
It really does. And to understand the weight of that absence, we have to look at his own admissions. Eric has been very open about his failings. In his memoir, Runaway Train, he candidly admitted that he, quote, couldn't handle being a parent.
That is heavy.
And earlier this year, on a podcast, he spoke about mourning the loss of their relationship with Emma. He acknowledged the deep estrangement. So you have this massive emotional void at the very moment a father is traditionally supposed to stand beside his daughter.
But she didn't walk down the aisle alone, did she?
She didn't. She filled that space in a completely unexpected way. Instead of her father, Emma was escorted down the aisle by her 5-year-old son, Rhodes, whom she shares with her ex, Garrett Hedlund. Yeah. Rhodes walked her down in a little white suit and green shoes.
That is actually so beautiful.
I am struck by the cinematic imagery of this. You have the glamorous, wildly famous aunt representing the Hollywood legacy smiling in the audience. You have the estranged biological father sweating it out at a gym hundreds of miles away. And you have this young child leading his mother to the altar.
How does this reality reframe what we are actually looking at, when we see these Vogue wedding photos?
It transforms the event, I think, from a standard celebrity wedding into a profound statement on chosen family versus biological family.
Exactly. Having her 5-year-old son walk her down the aisle is not just a photogenic moment designed to look cute in a magazine spread. It is an act of supreme agency. She is actively reclaiming her family narrative.
She is refusing to let the empty chair define the day.
Right. By taking her son's hand, she is physically and symbolically turning her back on the complicated, painful history of her past, represented by her absent father, and choosing to center her future.
She is declaring to her guests and to the world, "This is my family now. This is who leads me into my next chapter."
It requires an immense amount of emotional strength to rewrite the traditional script in front of an audience that is perpetually waiting to judge your every move.
It really is a beautiful defiance of expectations. It shifts the focus from the trauma of who isn't there to the pure joy of who is.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Because this theme of defying expectations, it does not stop at the aisle.
No, it doesn't. Because when we look at the man waiting for her at the altar, Emma's choice of husband actually shatters a very strict set of rules she recently established for herself in the press.
It is such a fascinating case study in how our boundaries have to evolve when the reality of our lives changes.
Let's talk about the groom, Cody John. He is an actor known for roles in Wu-Tang, An American Saga, and In the Dark. They went public with their relationship back in August 2022 when he posted a photo of them kissing on a boat, and then they got engaged in July 2024.
Right, which seems pretty normal for Hollywood.
On the surface, yes. A Hollywood actress marrying a working actor is standard industry behavior. But if we look at Emma's own public statements over the last few years, this entire timeline is a massive contradiction.
Her previous boundaries were very clearly defined and very public.
In 2019, she did a major interview with Cosmopolitan where she drew a hard line in the sand. She explicitly stated she wanted to keep her relationships completely private moving forward.
Because growing up is hard. And she talked about how she hated that audiences felt entitled to comment on her personal life without knowing the real story.
A completely rational defense mechanism for someone who has endured the paparazzi lens since childhood.
For sure. But the contradictions run deeper than just the desire for privacy.
Well, much deeper. Just this year, in a 2024 interview with Flaunt magazine, she went on the record saying she was done dating actors.
Really? Done with actors entirely?
Done. She actually said the veil was lifted. She specifically called out the intense difficulty of dating method actors, noting how exhausting it is to be in a relationship with someone whose personality shifts depending on the dark characters they are playing.
Oh, the shade of that comment.
Right. She swore off public relationships, and she firmly swore off actors. Yet here we are, she marries an actor.
Yeah.
She has a highly publicized Vogue wedding.
And she announced her own engagement on Instagram.
Yes,
Yeah,
with a cheeky caption, "Putting this here before my mom tells everyone."
which is a hilarious reference to when her mom, Kelly Cunningham, accidentally leaked her pregnancy news in 2020.
That was iconic, but I am struggling to see this as anything other than a reboot of the same cycle. She goes on record saying dating actors feels like an exhausting performance and that she wants total privacy.
Yeah.
Isn't marrying an actor, posting the ring on Instagram, and having a 1,000-hour custom gown featured in Vogue just a continuation of the exact Hollywood performance she claims she wanted to escape? Did she actually break the cycle, or did she just cast a new co-star?
It is easy to view it as a regression, I get that. But from a psychological standpoint, this looks much more like a necessary evolution.
How so?
Well, building a massive wall of privacy sounds ideal, but it is ultimately unsustainable for a global celebrity. True, absolute invisibility is a myth for someone born into the Roberts dynasty. The realization she likely had is that if you leave a vacuum of information, the public and the tabloids will just fill it with rumors, Reddit threads, and intrusive paparazzi shots.
So if you can't hide, what do?
You weaponize the curation to create a decoy. You take the wheel. By announcing the engagement herself, she beats her mother and the tabloids to the punch. She owns the narrative.
Okay, I see that.
And yes, Cody John is an actor, but he operates on a decidedly different tier of fame than her previous, highly scrutinized partners. He is not currently dominating tabloid covers with intense, dark method acting roles. It is a highly calibrated compromise.
Ah, so she is giving the public a beautiful, controlled piece of the pie so they stop trying to break into the kitchen.
Exactly. She is finding a middle ground between her very real human need for a private, stable life and the undeniable reality of her celebrity status. The strict rules she made in 2019 and early 2024 were survival mechanisms for who she was then.
And she broke her own rules because they no longer serve the reality of the peace she has seemingly found now.
Perfectly said.
When you look at all these threads together, you realize that this entire event is a masterclass in narrative survival.
It really is.
We started by looking at the extreme 1,000-hour aesthetic curation of a custom Monique Lhuillier gown. We unpacked the brutal reality checks of internet culture, where an audience demands perfection and then viciously punishes a bride for a single cigarette outside a dive bar.
The internet is unforgiving.
We explored the heavy, deeply poignant family dynamics of an absent father sweating in an LA gym while a 5-year-old son bravely walks his mother into her future. And finally, we examined the irony and the absolute necessity of breaking your own rigid rules to find actual happiness.
It strips away the celebrity veneer and reveals a very fundamental human struggle.
And for you listening, while you might not have a 1,000-hour couture gown hanging in your closet or paparazzi analyzing your every move outside a casino bar, the core tension here is incredibly relatable.
It really is.
The desire to curate our best moments, to present a beautiful, controlled version of ourselves to the world, while simultaneously navigating messy, painful family dynamics and the constant suffocating judgment of others.
We are all just trying to construct a narrative that protects us.
Yeah.
The celebrity just has to do it on a global stage.
The stakes are higher, but the emotional mechanics are exactly the same.
Totally.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought based on the sources we explored today. We spent a lot of time on Emma's specific, uncompromising request to Vogue for her dress.
The antique ghost doll.
Yes, she wanted a little antique ghost doll aesthetic. It is such a uniquely specific, eerie choice for a day that is culturally supposed to represent bright new beginnings.
It is a striking contradiction to standard bridal joy.
It makes you wonder, could this unique aesthetic choice be a subconscious reflection of her internal life?
Oh, wow. Like how?
Think about it. Is this dress a physical manifestation of feeling perpetually haunted? Haunted by the massive looming legacy of her Hollywood family, haunted by the ghost of an estranged father who couldn't bring himself to be there, and haunted by her own highly scrutinized, inescapable past?
Does an antique ghost doll wear the heavy weight of history? Or is it simply a beautiful piece of fabric?
Exactly. Something for you to mull over. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.